We are ready here?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, go up quickly, and I'll just talk to you in 1 second.
Good.
I'm enjoying all the good discussion, negative,
Yes.
with the orbital and happened to be, I think we had to change the symposium also that every case is the atherectomy. Go up. And I'll tell you why. Because I think probably very rare any symposium is which is more than 50% atherectomy, and we are actually close to so far case number 5, another atherectomy, and then case number 6 will be now. Let me quickly tell you, this is the case number 5, as we said, 62-year-old male. Actually happens to be, this patient was admitted a few weeks ago with chest pain, and cath revealed 3-vessel disease after positive stress test. Patient has a kidney transplant, and is a good ejection for a left renal transplant, and the positive, EF is 53%, and 3-vessel disease, and 3-vessel basically good LV, very small amount of dye. Right coronary has moderate disease, as you can see here, 60, 70 proximally, PDA about 50, and then this is the left system. There was a disease in the OM, which actually was stented, but LAD diagonal is the one question. And you see here, LAD diagonal. Before you go to the picture, I always tell, in order to see calcium, you do the cine run. You see here, you see the entire ghost of the vessel. You don't need IVUS, you don't need OCT. Angiofluoro clearly tell you severe calcium with a tram track. And this patient, as you see, diffuse disease of the LAD angulated, and the, again, long disease of the diagonal. So that's where we are. Now, question is, why this patient did not go for surgery? This patient actually has consultation at Mount Sinai, as well as actually happened to be with Dr. Puskas also, who is there, because of the kidney transplant and diffuse calcific disease, felt that it will be better served with the intervention. So OM has been done, which was done by Dr. Keeney last week, few weeks ago, and here for LAD diagonal calcific bifurcation. So now question biggest is, what you do with that angulated LAD, which is so calcified?
Yeah.
You can always try the balloon, but we know, one, you may not sometime expand. Secondly, sometimes create more dissection. So what our technique has been, use a very small burr. So you see here, this is the basically wiring, which is on the fluorosave. The wire went with a Fielder fine cross, very easy. Then change it to the rota wire, 1.25 bar only. And see, after 1.25 bar, it took us a second lesion. After that angulation took us more time. It took about 120 seconds, nicely dilated. And then we put the diagonal with the rota wire and balloon angioplasty. So this is the result with the balloon. But now look at the ostium of the diagonal. Very disrupted, was not there before, but multiple lesions in the diagonal ostium, and subsequently, then which we did again, very difficult 1.25 bar of this heavily calcific diagonal. Took more time than the LAD. Again, same 1.25 bar. The proximal segment then went to the distal segment. Took us, 100 and almost 110 seconds to do the diagonal. Now we dilated, subsequently we wired both LAD and diagonal, did the balloon, and I'm ready to take the picture. We haven't taken the picture now. So both lesions have been rotablated, one dilated with a 2.5 20, other one with a 2.25 30. And this is the picture now, and we decide what we need to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So first of all, don't try this at home, because this is really unbelievable. 2-vessel rotablator. And importantly, I'll go first to Dr. John Puskas, who just in the last session told us we should all go to a lima to the LAD. And in this case, they came to you, but you felt. So tell us how you decide when and when not to put a lima to the LAD, just quickly. And then we'll go to this incredible case of 2-vessel rotational atherectomy.
I certainly didn't say everyone should have a lima LAD. Clearly, there is a role for PCI in the LAD territory. This patient was very, very concerned about the impact of surgery on his renal allograft. He has a kidney transplant. And that was his overwhelming concern, was to preserve that graft. And while I don't think there are good data to tell us whether surgery is more stressful than a dual vessel rotational atherectomy on a transplant kidney, one would suspect that with Dr. Sharma's remarkable skill, the physiologic stress on his renal allograft would be less with this procedure than with even a robotic bypass, although I'm not sure. Long story short, I was unable to look him in the eye and tell him I guaranteed his renal function would be preserved after heart surgery, and he chose this approach. In Dr. Sharma's hands, I don't think that's an unreasonable choice. But to be honest, a young diabetic patient with multivessel disease is likely to do better with cabbage than PCI for most cases.
And I would say, as you know, I just did a large review of the literature for acute kidney injury associated with contrast in the New England Journal, just published last week. And I think it's important that, I'm not so sure that this particular way, I mean, you're going to tell us, what are you doing with contrast media for this patient? What did you do to preserve the function of this particular patient? How did you choose, Dr. Sharma, to do this with as little as possible as dye, obviously, and then, of course, importantly, why not go radial to just get away from that transplant because it's in the groin somewhere? Okay. So all those
very
things.
Very good point. Actually, I'll just say my point, and then we'll ask Dr. Puskas, what about the calcific mid to distal LAD in terms of the lima anastomosis? We'll come back to that point. But this case was admitted last night, as Dr. Puskas said. Biggest decision was which will be less traumatic to the kidney, whether cabbage or PCI. And clearly we know that cabbage, particularly the Tower trial showed that cabbage has a little higher CIN compared to the PCI. So all decision was made, as Dr. Puskas mentioned, solely based on preserving kidney. So what we did for this case, we admitted him last night. His creatinine was 1.2. This was hydrated. We still give mucomist for everybody to feel better. Some of our nephrologists still want it. Yeah, no. The creatinine this morning became 0.9. And
that's a good hydration, not mucomist, hydration.
Right, both. I would say I'm a little believer. Just to say.
That helped you. Mucomist helped you. Yes.
That's it. Me.
Go ahead. Good.
Second point is the radial point of view. Remember, this patient is an old dialysis patient. He had a left-sided fistula, and right radial was used one time, and radial is not there. So this patient does not have a radial. So now we are ready to put 2 stents, and you can see here we have. The one stent has gone into the diagonal and other one going into the LAD and do a mini crush technique. And key is just to tell people say you cannot put the 2 stent with a 6 French guide. You absolutely can put 2 stents, a smaller one with a 6 French guide. So this is a 6 French guide here. And we have 2 Promus here. Size, what are the sizes?
2 to 5 and 3U.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how you're positioning this? Why mini crush as opposed to DK crush? All those things.
Yeah, so I think the DK crush probably okay for your left main. Yeah, so much. Otherwise, this is the one diagonal. Yeah. So key is the multiple steps, and I can tell you the mini crush, which is our favorite technique, has not shown any bad results in any way. So therefore, in our lab, we do some cases with we'll show one case hopefully with the DK crush. But mini crush is the preferred bifurcation strategy in Mount Sinai cath lab. Go to the diagonal now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that I know.
So this is now, right?
Just show us how you're doing the placement, all those things.
Yeah. So basically, you saw it. Point with the stent and make sure that you already have the stent. What are you doing now? Yeah. Good. Go. 16. Good. Negative. So actually, we had to do, initially we thought maybe we don't need the stent in the diagonal, but you saw the ostium was very roughed up, negative. So we needed to put 2 stents here. There's no question on that point. And we can do a little edge to atmosphere.
I think the big question that everybody has is how do you decide to do rotational atherectomy in that side branch there? And weren't you concerned when you saw a disrupted diagonal to go again with the rotational atherectomy there?
No.
Most people would not, but
but I can tell you this, if you want to do something to this diagonal, which is such as heavy calcium, you do a without rotational atherectomy technique, you'll never able to expand the stent. Guaranteed.
Right.
Now wire in the diagonal out,
So
We are
that's
done.
why they have to refer these cases to you, Dr. Sharma.
Well, that is why our growth is good, and we have now 22% atherectomy done in Mount Sinai Cath Lab. So we are going to show the picture here. We have put 2 stents, and they will be ready in room 1. If looks good, we are going to recross and kiss. Now, there is a controversy. Many people will leave the wire even when they are putting a 2-stent approach into the side branch. After the stenting of the side branch, we take both wire and the balloon out.
That's
so
right.
this is our policy, but some people still leave it, but I don't think it will be of any value. Sometimes you can cut
Because
it.
you rewire it anyway.
Anyway,
That's
okay.
beautiful.
That's where we
Gorgeous.
are.
So we're going to come back to you to
Yep.
see the final
Good.
results. We'll go
And
back
we-
to Dr.
room
Kinney.
Kinney and then room 1, yeah.
Yeah,
You
Dr.
know,
Kinney, beautiful.
Roxana,
Yeah.
I
Let's go to Dr.
100%,
Kinney in the meantime.
100% agree with everything Dr. Sharma said. I think his word, his description,
he's giving a very good
Yes.
sign up there.
Yes.
He doesn't know he's on TV.
is really the way it should be done.
Yeah.
The rotablation of the diagonal is essential.
Yes.
If you don't do that, just stay provisional, do nothing, and just don't do that.
Perfect.
Right. Very
Beautiful.
good. Dr. Kinney now. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Can you guys shut this? I can't see the screen. Can you shut this light on top of me? I can't see the screen. This one. Thank you.